Today I'm comparing two slushy cups to see if they really work and to see if one is better than the other. That's today's video, so let's get right to it. All right, so cups like these, you're supposed to just add a liquid to. It has to have natural sugar, by the way. It can't be unsweetened or have artificial sweetener. But you add a sweet drink to these, wait a little bit, and you have a nice slushy. I decided to get two completely different types here. So I have the slush and shake maker, which I keep mistakenly referring to as a slush and shake. The slush and shake maker versus the frozen magic. And I have a hard time remembering both of their names because they're so generic sounding, but the slush and shake maker, you simply just add the liquid to and scrape the sides. On the frozen magic, you add liquid and you just keep squeezing it. The slush and shake maker has a nice outer sleeve so you don't get your hands cold, while the frozen magic has this nice lid and a completely different feel to it. So I tried 3 different tests and the results were, well, they're a little bit mixed. Check it out. Let's take a closer look at the slush and shake versus the frozen magic. Frozen magic is soft, it's kind of squishy. It does have this nice kind of convenience store type lid to it. And look at this. See, the sides are soft. Very soft. What you're supposed to do in this one is freeze it, fill it with liquid, and then squeeze. The instructions for the frozen magic are not written very well. I mean, I can understand the instructions. Place in the freezer, that's easy enough. Step 2, you add your favorite chilled drink. Step 3, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And in minutes, you'll have a frozen treat. At least that part's easy to understand. On the back, these instructions are not very good. Look, right here it says creative use of whey, which already doesn't make sense. My favorite part says, into the cheesecake with slightly juice agitation, creative dessert ice product. That is a complete sentence, supposedly. Anyways, what do bad instructions matter as long as it works, right? The slush and shake is a very different design. This actually has 2 sections. This part goes in the freezer. This part supposedly just protects your hand from getting cold, which this one doesn't. This one doesn't have a lid, but this one does. And this one doesn't require you to squeeze it. It actually uses this spoon. This says to gently scrape and stir every 60 seconds. So these two are completely different method. This one is a little bit higher rated, but that doesn't mean anything on Amazon. Well, it might mean something, but it may not mean anything. First thing I'm gonna do is rinse these out, make sure they're completely dry, put them in the freezer, and then I guess tomorrow I'll get started on my first test. It's about time to get started. I've looked over both sets of instructions, and the one for the frozen magic is almost gibberish. It seems like they put the instructions in Google Translate and hit enter and called it good because it's hard to understand. But between the two of them, really the only thing to know is that you have to use naturally sweetened drinks. Drinks without any sweetener at all or artificial sweetener will not work. That seems to be the primary concern. So I'm just gonna start off with something random I pull out of my fridge and see how it works. I found some soy chocolate milk that nobody's drinking, so I need to get rid of it. So this will be a good chance for it. That's about 1 cup of liquid. Now step 3 just says to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze for several minutes. Several minutes of squeezing, huh? Oh, I can already see this being a disaster where you give it to a kid. Am I doing this right? Put on lid, okay. Well, that makes more sense. Not quite as much of a disaster with a lid on there. Put on lid and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. In just minutes, you'll have delicious frozen treat. That's it. That's all it says. All right, that lid definitely helps. I have no idea how long this is going to take. They said several minutes. I'm going to take this cap off real quick here. It does look like we're getting some ice around the edges here. As I look in there, it actually is becoming more like frozen chocolate milk. I definitely had my doubts about this. I still kind of have my doubts about it, even though it seemed like it's working. It kind of looks like mud coming up through a hole in the ground or something. Okay, let me try it out. It feels like it's still getting more and more frozen, like it may not even be slushy enough after a while. Wow. Wow. No, it's too frozen to drink. It's a little deceiving because this is not all chocolate. This is actually mostly the edges of the cup. This worked well. The only thing is it is very cold and my fingertips are almost numb right now from holding this glass. But the Zoku supposedly addresses that, so let's try that next. All right, it's time for the Zoku Slush and Shake. Fill line, according to the instructions, are right here. right, they both hold exactly 1 cup. So support in there, wait a minute or two. So I don't have to do anything. Unlike the frozen magic, which I had to pretty much be squeezing the entire time, this one I'm waiting for it and scrape it on occasion. So let's see how that works. Try the first scrape. Oh, I already see a little bit of ice. While I'm waiting for the slush and shake, I was going to mention one thing about the frozen magic, and that is that there's so many crevices in here, it's really hard to tell when you've got it all how much is left in there, because each one of these crevices is filled with this, and the bottom is just kind of a black hole. You can't really see down in there. So there's definitely a texture that's forming on the walls, because this is a smooth plastic, but it's a very rough feel to it. So I can feel the ice forming. Oh, I actually left out a step. I'm supposed to put it inside of this sleeve, because my hands were getting cold from holding that, and I remembered that they already accounted for that with this. Much better. The instructions for the slush and shake do say that if you wait a long time in between scraping the walls, the ice will thicken and will be harder to scrape. But they also say wait about every 1 to 2 minutes between scrapes. So it's kind of a learning curve, I guess, with the scraping. Oh wow, I can definitely feel it forming now. Oh yeah. Not only can you have fun with your kids in the kitchen while you do this, but it teaches them a valuable life lesson of patience, because it takes a few minutes for it to really do anything. With both of these, at first I didn't think it was going to work because they were liquid for so long, but it seems like eventually you start becoming more icy and it works out pretty well. This is becoming much more, look at this. That's the consistency I like. I guess if you let it sit longer, it would even be more icy, but this is I'm kind of wanting this right now. All right, let's try it out. It still seems like it's forming ice on the sides even as I'm eating it though. But this came out really good. This is just like a chocolate slushy. Look at the ice, it's so icy on the sides. I have to actually scrape it like scraping a windshield in the wintertime. Well, I think test 1 was a success for both of them. I think one was a little better than the other. But now I gotta refreeze them, and tomorrow I'll come back with another round and see how it works for that. All right, so both cups washed up easily, and I've got them in the freezers. Tomorrow I think I'm gonna try some cola. Again, I can't try any diet soda, you have to just try regular, so I'm gonna try some of that. And I just realized that consuming 2 cups of soy chocolate milk is not doing so well, so I think I need to take the rest of the night off. So I'm back in the morning to try out round number 2. It's day number 2, take number 2. I'm gonna try some cola in there this time. Not Mountain Dew though, which would have been a good idea now that I think about it, but I don't have any Mountain Dew. I'm actually gonna be doing a Mountain Dew competitor for the next round. I'm gonna also point out that after my first test with the soy chocolate milk, this was a bit of a pain to clean. This was, especially right in there, that was hard to clean. This was a pain to clean. It was just a pain to clean. So that's something going against that one. Thought it might be interesting to do it on a nice warm day. Let's see how warm it is here in Las Vegas today. Oh, it really isn't that warm. Honestly, I thought it was warmer than that. It feels warmer than that. All right, so I gotta run inside, grab both cups. I'm gonna do them at the same time this time and see how it goes. I also got my stopwatch to see how long it actually takes. All right, I'm ready to go. I have high hopes now. After yesterday, I've got high hopes for this. Now this one I've got to let sit for a minute or two anyway, so I'm going to start squeezing this one. So what do you guys call it? Do you say soda, cola, Coke, or what some of my cousins call it pop? When I was a kid, I used to just call everything carbonated Coke. A lot of people have different ideas of what they should call it. I keep forgetting to put it in the outer sleeve. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm definitely seeing some ice on this one now. This one is in the lead, shockingly, because they were about the same yesterday. I'm not feeling any ice at all on this one. And this one feels like it's done. I actually have an upset in the making. I'm actually kind of upset about this being an upset. All right, so look at this. Why is this not working? I'm not getting any ice, none. And this one's done. We have a winner, I guess. That tastes just like you get from 7-Eleven. I don't know, I don't understand. It worked yesterday, and this one worked too. In the same conditions, I put them in the freezer at the same time. I put the drink in there at the same time. I brought them outside at the same time. I'm at a loss. Oh wait, we're getting ice in there. I'm getting ice in here now. Some ice has started forming at the 5-minute mark. So I'm gonna let it sit for a minute. I'm a little confused about that. Honestly, I don't understand, because going into this test, I thought that one was better. Now, I'm not so sure. Bailey, which one's better? Which one's better, Bailey? Come here. Which one's better? Which one? Which one? She's not being much help. Let's see what we got here. Oh, now it's getting ice. I'm almost done with this one, and the other one's just starting to form ice. I feel like, and this is not something that most reviewers would say, by the way, but I feel like there's user error on this one. I don't know what it could be. I put them both in the freezer at the same time. I poured the drink in there at the same time. I brought them outside at the same time. I just don't know. Now we're getting there. See this? Oh, look at this. Whoa. All I can think about is being outside must have affected this one in a way that it didn't affect this one. I'm not sure what that is, though. But at the 7.5 minute mark, I would say I have a very acceptable slushy here. You know what this means, though? Since I got a little bit better results the first time on one and better results the second time on the other, I gotta do round 3, which means I gotta eat these, put them in the freezer again tonight, and then try round 3 tomorrow and see if I can come up with a clear winner. It's a nice frozen treat now, but it took a lot longer out here. For whatever reason, this one didn't seem like being outside. Maybe I'll try around, I guess that's the question. Do I try round 3 outside or inside? I don't know. Day 3, final test. Try it out. I'm gonna put about 1 cup each just to make sure it's even. This one I'm gonna let set for a minute or 2, and this one I'm gonna start squeezing. All right, at the 1.5-minute mark, I'll try a scrape here. Oh, I got some ice forming. We've got some ice forming. Not a lot, but a little bit of ice. Do I really need this? Probably not. We've got ice forming in there too. Once again, the slush and shake is behind as far as the time goes. Not much ice on that one. I'm definitely getting them in the frozen magic. All right, at the 3-minute mark, frozen magic, crushing it. Oh, we're getting ice now. Getting more ice. Slush and shake is just a little bit slower, that's all. For whatever reason. About the 3.5-minute mark, I think that the frozen magic's done. Does it look done to you? That looks pretty done to me. I think this one looks done. Before the 4-minute mark. And the slush and shake, we're just getting some ice now. Well, I think as far as the time goes, 2 out of 3. I've never had a slushy made from straight cranberry juice before. It's interesting. Let's see what the slush and shake's doing over here. Oh yeah, we're getting ice now. Yeah, it's getting there slowly. I think I'm gonna be done with the frozen magic before the slush and shake's even ready to be eaten. Well, at the 7.5-minute mark, I'm almost done with the frozen magic. Just in time for the slush and shake to be done, I guess. Oh, here we go. Now it's looking nice now. It's just, I don't know why it's so much slower. When I did the first test of the soy chocolate milk, I didn't do them side by side, so I wasn't paying as much attention. But my 2 head-to-head matchups, the frozen magic has just destroyed it. At least as far as speed goes. There's other pros and cons that I'll talk about in a minute. I mean, it's a nice frozen treat. It just took a little longer. Sometimes good things are worth waiting for. I'm gonna ponder the pros and cons of these and then wrap this thing up. So in the end, I'm a little bit on the fence about which one of these I like the best. The frozen magic seemed to win the speed test. When I wasn't timing them, I didn't notice a huge difference, but when I timed them, the frozen magic slaughtered it. If speed was the only factor, I would definitely say the frozen magic's better, but there's other things to consider, all of them which favor the slush and shake maker. Number 1, this just feels cheap. It feels like it could easily tear or break or get poked with a utensil or something. The inside has that same material. It's also very difficult to clean this one. I mean, look at all those cracks and crevices in there, and you can't put in the dishwasher, so it's kind of a pain to clean. The lid is nice, but you usually use a spoon anyway, so the lid's kind of pointless. Same with their straw. The straw is hard to clean as well. I mean, you need like a pipe cleaner or something to get in there. So the slush and shake maker, even though it was slower, much easier to clean. Look at that, just whoop, wipe it out. Your hands don't get cold. It feels more sturdy. The spoon, it doesn't really add much, but it is good for scraping the edges of it. I believe I paid about $30 for the Frozen Magic and about $23 for the Slush and Shake Maker. So I don't think I can really declare an absolute winner here. They both kind of have the pros and cons. If you're not worried about longevity and you're worried more about how fast it's gonna make something, you gotta go with the Frozen Magic. But if you're looking for something a little bit longer term that's gonna last you a while, something that's easier to clean, that might take longer to make your slushies, you've gotta go with the Slush and Shake Maker. If I was choosing between the two of these, it would be a hard choice. I would go with the Slush and Shake Maker. I feel like it's gonna last longer, it's easier to clean, you don't get your hands cold, but it does take longer. But I can see there's definitely a case to be made for both of them. I should mention that both of them do work. So I think that you can't go wrong with either one of them. So if you like what you see, I think you should definitely try picking up one of them. If you've tried one of these, leave a comment below and let everybody know what you think. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.